Hi everyone, my name is Shefali Kaushik. Currently, I'm a first year student at SCMHRD Pune. I'm pursuing my MBA in Sales and Marketing. Previously, I've done my economics honors from Delhi University and I'm also a fresher. I took a gap year for my entrance preparations, and that is when I extensively focused on preparing for the SNAP and the other entrance examinations. So particularly talking about SNAP, I had a completely different strategy for this exam. Since we have 60 minutes for 60 questions, we have to be on our toes, right? It is a speed-based test. So I made my strategy accordingly. My main focus was on understanding where I was going wrong and understanding my strengths and my weaknesses. This is something that you understand by giving more and more mocks. And with time, you understand which type of questions you're more familiar with and which topics are your stronger points. So this is something I focused on. Talking about the different sections, for my VA, I was very comfortable with the verbal ability section. English was something I have always been comfortable with. So I always prepared a small notebook wherein I used to write every word that I used to come up with a new word. So after each week, there was a lot of words that I had learnt that week. And I used to go back to that notebook regularly so that I used to memorize them also. So this became a habit, and like this, I did not have to do any additional preparation for the same. Also, I would recommend you all to go through editorial section of the newspaper. That is something that I believe would be really helpful for you. So coming to the next section, which would be the logical reasoning. So particularly, I think this is a very strong section. If you're comfortable with the LR questions and the type of questions that are asked, you can score a lot more than you actually can, because since there are 25 questions in this section, if you're even covering 20 questions, so you're done with 20 marks in a way, right? So this is how I strategized accordingly. And coming to the quant section, I'm not from an engineering background, and personally I never felt very comfortable with maths and quants per se. So this is something that I kept for the last. So in a way, I completed my verbal ability in 7 or 8 minutes. Then I gave logical reasoning a very good amount of time, because since it was my strongest, I gave it a lot of time and I maximized my score in this section. And coming to the quant, I used up the rest of the time in solving whatever I could, because we don't have sectional time limits and we also don't have a sectional cutoff for the same. So in order to maximize your scores, you need to focus on your strengths in this way, right? Topic wise as well as section wise. So in quants, I started with focusing on my strengths. I covered the topics which I was more familiar and comfortable with, and I chose the topics also accordingly. Even in the exam, I only covered the topics and the questions which I was very much comfortable with. So this is the way I started solving my mocks, and this became a habit of mine. Okay, so even in the exam, this was not something that came out of the blue. I knew what I had to do. And I also gave all the 3 attempts, right? And in the final attempt, I was able to maximize my score. So even if you score low in the first exam, but you're able to score high in the last one, so the highest marks will be considered. So this is something that sets SNAP apart. And these are some of the strategies that I used. These might vary for you and for everybody depending on your background, depending on your strengths and weaknesses and your stronger points. So these were my experiences. I wish I helped you, and all the very best. See you at SCMHRD.